This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, July 7th, 2006, and this is episode number 123 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hotchford from mgmstudios.org. On the show today is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Hello, everybody.
And we also have Len Testa, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
And
we also have Mike Scopa, who is the trip planning guru over at mouseplanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Global Clipper will depart shortly upon the era of air travel. Your dream flight will span the world, making brief stops in Tokyo, Japan, and Paris, France. Once you dream flight to the world, to inspire, excite. Go ahead.
Very nice, Len.
Beats Tomorrow's Child. Go ahead.
And joining us again is Deb Wills of allears.net. Allearsnet.com. Your website is a Freudian slip waiting to happen.
I know.
Oh, there's no place like World Showcase on the face of the whole wide world. Yes, there's no place like World Showcase on the face of the whole wide world.
Konnichiwa, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hello.
Oh, so apropos.
Bless you.
Yes.
Oh, Deb's a thinker. Because if you remember back to the first half of World Showcase, and many of our listeners were like, what happened in the second half of World Showcase? And I quickly responded to them that we didn't care about those countries. They weren't fun. In actuality, we were just biding our time, and we've come up with the second half of the World Showcase tour. So we'll be starting, as Deb has hinted at Japan. Japan, of course, is right after the American Adventure, and that's where we're going to start off today's show. What are your thoughts about Japan? I would call you gentlemen, but we actually have a lady here today.
I need to see them change that exhibit, the Tin Toys exhibit. That's been there forever.
It has been there for a while.
Yeah, they had a Japanese baseball exhibit
Baseball,
about 2
right.
years ago. Oh, that
They
was
did. That was awesome. And they also had a magical toys exhibit before that.
Yes. Now it's all about Teruhisa Kitahara, Japan's tin toy master.
There are a couple of things that are very good about the pavilion. One is obviously the shopping is great, but
Yeah.
the pavilion is phenomenally. Have you guys seen the drumming band that plays outside?
Yeah, it's the Japanese version of the Gong Show.
Dude. I wonder why Americans are reviled throughout the world. Go figure. I don't know what it could possibly be. But they do a great percussion. I think they have a CD out, don't they, Newell?
You got me on that.
I believe they do.
Newell just makes recordings of his music. He doesn't buy their recordings. Shh.
But also, there's you can walk up the steps once you enter the pavilion. There are some steps to the left that go up to a garden with running water, and I believe there's koi.
Yes.
That's a great area.
Small waterfalls. Very nice
Small
and peaceful
waterfalls.
back there.
There's a little restaurant back there that's awesome to go and have a nice little lunch. I go there all the time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yakitori's is very good. It's got sushi. It's got miso.
They've
got
sushi's not
tempura,
bad
right?
over there.
No, it's not bad, is it?
It's not. It's a little on the expensive side, but I mean, hey, you're at Walt Disney World. There's nothing. I mean, food's going to cost you.
Yeah, the sushi is good both at Yakitori House and also at Tempura Kiku.
I'm a big fan of. Maybe not a big fan, but I'm a fan of teppanyaki. I think it's
The restaurant?
the restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what throws a lot of people is that you're seated. It's like table seating for what, 10?
I think 8 or so.
8 or 10, 8 to
Yeah.
10, and then you could be seated with another family, and that I think throws a lot of people off the first time.
Happens in Germany, too.
Right.
That's right.
But it is immensely popular.
I think what's good about it is since you got the chef over there, he kind of takes the edge off of it of sitting with strangers.
Right, takes the focus off of.
Right. I mean, you're all just watching him or her. I had actually a her last time, and it was really interesting because they all have their own little style. It's not scripted, like they all do the same thing, and but they do the things with the volcano with the onions and it's I think it's pretty entertaining.
It is entertaining. And good food.
Yeah, the food's not bad. That's the other caveat. Usually, if it's entertaining, the food's bad.
Yeah.
But no, actually, they did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah,
And actually, the seating is for 8.
Is it 8? Okay.
Thanks, Deb. Let's move on to Morocco, the country that bought its way into World Showcase.
Oh, they all bought their way in. What?
Well, Morocco really bought their way in. It's like, how much is it going to cost to get a Morocco pavilion? But what do we think of Morocco?
I like it. I like it a lot. I like the architecture. I like the winding street simulation that they have. I like the water wheel out in front of... Have I told you guys about the water wheel?
You may have neglected to mention it between mentioning the belly dancers.
Yeah, that's right. wait, were you there for that? Because I want to know. I want to know how much I needed to divulge. So there's this water wheel. Anyway, changing the subject. There's this water wheel out in front of Morocco that dips into World Showcase. Deb, you've seen it, right?
Yes.
And the water wheel dips into World Showcase and brings water to the top of the wheel, and then irrigates the planters on the far side of the pavilion. So not the area that you walk, but closer to World Showcase. The interesting thing about the water wheel, Deb, do you know this?
About how it was used for sanitation.
The water's
Oh
on the
dear
inside.
God, no. But
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
It's on the inside.
it's the water goes on the inside. So through this,
Ah.
it's not like the water wheel at the Swiss Family Treehouse is like a
Okay.
scoop mechanism. This is not like that. The water stays inside the water wheel through like this complex series of chambers and baffles until it gets to the very, very top. And when it gets to the very top, it squirts out the side through a spout. And you can only imagine how much espresso it took someone to think that up. Because I sat there for like an hour one time trying to draw out how this would all work. That the water gets scooped up at the bottom and then doesn't spill out the side at the top, and then spills out the side.
That's
Only
interesting.
when it gets to 90 degrees. It's really interesting. It's a great
Wow,
water
I'm going to
wheel.
have to look at that. Well, what it actually represents is in olden times, the richest people in the land would be closest to the water wheel. And they would use it not just for drinking and bathing, but for other things as well. And it would slope downward, and the less money that you had, you would be at the end of the water. So your water was not as clean as those who were wealthy at the top of the hill.
The one thing I would have liked to have seen in Morocco, I've always envisioned this, is the shopping is a little lackluster, but I always thought that they could do something like recreate like a bazaar atmosphere over there. And you would have to, if you want, like kind of like around when you're walking towards the sit-down restaurant. But I can imagine like a bunch of different shops over there, and people trying to hawk their goods towards you. I mean, kind of like try my whatever it is, and like that kind of atmosphere that you would find in Morocco. I always thought that they could do something with the shopping over there rather than just create another gift shop.
Isn't that scenario you're describing International Drive?
Actually, it sounds like Soho from last week.
Could be Canal Street. Yeah, exactly.
Chinatown, yeah.
Yeah, but I like it though. I mean, I like the dining isn't bad. Although I think I like the restaurant Marrakesh better than I like the Tangerine Cafe. Tangerine Cafe.
And Moroccan the band is fun to listen to.
Moroccan is great. Yeah.
Let's move on to France.
Bonjour.
Deb, you missed out on the first part of the show. Where were these intros in the first part of the show, Deb?
I don't know.
I love my absolute favorite thing to go over here is go to that little pastry shop and get the Napoleon over there and practice my high school French. That's always fun.
On the ladies.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I just had to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, you're right, Len.
No, yeah, I know.
If the girls have Norway, we've got France.
Exactly.
Have any of you seen the 3-panel stained glass window that is themed to the story of the Beauty and the Beast in the French Pavilion?
I'm sure Scopa has. He doesn't miss anything when it comes to Bill.
Where's it at?
Where's it at?
Where is it, Deb?
It's in one of the shops, and you can only see it from the outside depending on where the sun is shining. But it's 3 beautiful panes that start with the sunshine of the countryside, then there's the castle, and then there's the roads. Very, very pretty and ornate, and you definitely have to look for it next time you're in France.
I will
Is it
definitely
near
look
the,
for it.
is it near the perfume shop?
Kind of.
That's the only area in the French pavilion that I'm really familiar with, because I see a certain princess that I usually take.
Ah.
I know that area really well.
You can see it inside and outside, but again, it depends on the sunlight. It's very pretty.
Yeah, usually Scopa's ankle bracelet goes off as soon as you enter the French pavilion.
Gets within the 50 yards that the court has prescribed.
Well, you'll have to take Miss Bell over to the stained glass windows next time.
Yeah, the film is quite good, even though it's now, almost 25 years old?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still pretty entertaining. I love the part where they're racing the bicycles down the mountain. You know, everyone's going real fast, and involuntarily I cringe because you know that one of them is going to wreck. And none of them are wearing helmets. They're not wearing. I mean, clearly, it's the kids from 25 years ago. They're not wearing any safety gear whatsoever as they're biking down, the Alps or whatever it is, the Pyrenees. It's hysterical. But I like the movie. I like the movie a lot. I like the music.
I like the they have a nice wine sampling on demand over there.
Do they really?
Yes, they do.
You go over
wine
there.
Sampling on demand?
Yeah, it's great.
How did I miss that?
You just put the cash on the table.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like a mini food and wine festival, but it goes all year round. And you just go over there.
So where's it at?
It's in the shop, in the wine shop. If you're walking in from the front, of the pavilion, it's on your right-hand side. It's like the first shop right over there.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of wine, and you go right to the counter over there, and they have a list of wines that you can taste, and it's not that expensive, really. And,
how much is it for a...
I don't remember what it is per glass, but it's certainly inexpensive, and you get a fair amount. I mean, you get like a glass full of it, and it's great because you can just taste, a couple different wines, and say that Morocco is a little more interesting when you're when
it assumes you're going
backwards.
Clockwise.
Yeah, right.
And in December, they have Pierre Noël, who is the French version of our Santa Claus, who's always entertaining.
Father Christmas, that's right.
Yes.
And I hear they have some sort of pastry shop in France. Not that I've ever been to it.
Too.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. Might have to check that one out.
Let's move on to good old United Kingdom, and of course the best snack to watch Illuminations can be found over here with the fish and chips.
Oh yeah. They should serve it in newspaper though, just for the more authentic feel. But the fish and chips are quite good, actually.
Yes. Do they have it?
The whole pavilion itself though really doesn't do anything for me. It's just.
You mean architecturally, or?
It's just it's just like. There are a couple of interesting things in it. For one, you can get the Cadbury chocolate here that you can't get anywhere else.
I agree. I agree with you, Len, in that I think they were going for kind of like a London street kind of feel to it, and it doesn't come off that way. It just
not quite. It's closer than Italy is, I think, in terms of being a decent pavilion, but
I think so too. The shops are kind of neat. The tea caddy has some interesting things.
The tea, right?
Like
tea is interesting. But they're like one thing away from being, really interesting. And I'm trying to think of what would be the one thing that you would, when you go to London. Okay, you've got Big Ben, you've got the Queen, you've got.
I think if Rose and Crown was more like Raglan Road, if they had that kind of entertainment value over there, because it seems to me like it's a poor man's Raglan Road now.
Yeah.
Well, we would be remiss if we did not mention the World Showcase players.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
There and in
And the British invasion.
Yes.
The British invasion.
And that maze over there is pretty fun.
The maze is actually pretty fun. That's true. Good point.
It's a great
Go ahead.
a great place to see the Pooh characters too, off in the back where the maze is.
Yeah, a lot of character greets are over there, and a lot of people don't see it because it is fairly recessed back there.
Right.
It's a nice place to take a break though during the middle part of the day.
Oh, I love grabbing the fish and chips when it's not Illuminations and going back over there, and there's always a place to sit down, and it's not crowded. It's great to.
So you grab the wine, you grab the fish and chips, you just head back to the bench in the park and pass out. Is that
that's about right.
It's just like New York.
Yeah.
Okay,
After that, I'm a beach whale for about an hour, just making noises and rolling around.
Flip him over when he gets sunburned. Go ahead.
Let's move on to the final country, Canada, home of the Scopa Special, a national treasure of Canada.
That's right. Canada.
Here he goes.
I like the pavilion a lot. I like it quite a bit. The waterfall, again, I'm a sucker for waterfalls.
Especially the backside of water, right, Len?
The backside, exactly right. But I mean, the thing about this pavilion is it's got a couple of different features. It's got the waterfall as you're walking back towards the film. It's also got a fairly extensive garden area. It's got the film. The steps in the what's the chateau that it's supposed to be? The hotel is supposed to be. We should have had Fred on here because Fred Hazelton, our
Chateau Laurier in Ottawa.
Is it really?
Chateau, yeah. That's what Debsite says.
Fred's actually stayed at the hotel. So he's actually, not the one in World Showcase, which I'm sure is another Year of a Million Dreams thing, but
it's interesting that the Chateau Laurier is in Ottawa, when you would think that a French-named hotel would be in Quebec.
And they have the totem poles, and they have Off Kilter, arguably the best band in World Showcase.
I like Off Kilter quite a bit.
Yeah, I catch the music a lot on Mouse World Radio, and currently I've never been to Walt Disney World. I just listen to Mouse World Radio, and just
everything I learned I got off of Mouse World Radio. Yeah, there's a T-shirt slogan. In Scopa, don't they have some sort of restaurant here?
From what I've heard, there is a restaurant.
Yes.
And it's called Le Cellier. It is one of the smallest, if not the smallest, restaurant in World Showcase. However, from what I've heard, it has some really good entrees.
And what might some of those entrees be?
Well, let me see.
I don't think you've ever mentioned it on this show.
Yeah, I don't know. Strip steak goes by other names. Of course, they've got that great cheddar cheese soup.
Yeah, outstanding salmon.
Outstanding salmon, and they do have some very, very, very rich desserts. And I personally think that the service there is the best service in all of the World Showcase restaurants. I just think that the people who work in there are just outstanding, and I have never had a bad experience in there. I mean, I think I ate there like 8 times last year, and not one of my visits had any problems at all. So.
You mean 8 times there last December?
Yeah. Mr. Scopa, your table is waiting for you.
Yeah.
When you walk in, it's not a photo of the manager on the wall. It's a photo of Scopa, our most valued customer.
It's just an extension of Scopa Towers.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the gardens, floral displays that are reminiscent of the Victoria Gardens in Canada. But what is neat, if you go to Epcot at different times of the year to see how the landscaping changes in terms of the color. In what are our winter months, and would be in Canada too, you'll see more whites to represent snow. And as the spring comes, you get many more colors coming into the garden, and they change it quite frequently.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Well, I had divulged that Germany was my favorite pavilion, but let's go around and let's everyone quickly say what their favorite pavilion in World Showcase is. We'll start with our lovely guest, Deb. Deb, what is your favorite pavilion?
Ooh, this is really hard. I don't know that I have one favorite.
No, you got to pick one. Everyone's got a favorite.
I got to pick one?
You got to pick one.
I'll have to say Canada then.
All right. I wonder what Mike Scope is going to say.
Well, it's really hard because I really like Voices of Liberty and American Adventure, but like I think everyone had agreed, the restaurant leaves a lot to be desired, but that would make me go with Canada, and there's another reason why I like Canada, but I'm not going to tell anybody. But I would say, if I had to choose, I'm going to say American Adventure.
Wow, interesting.
Wow.
Mr. Newell.
I'm going to have to go south of the border and do Mexico.
Good choice there. And Len, which pavilion has the most amount of water to be seen?
I'm actually going to go with Newell on this one and say the Mexico Pavilion. If you're walking into the Mexico Pavilion, there's a ramp that goes down either side of the second half of the pavilion. You guys are familiar with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
At the base of that ramp is the coldest air conditioning vent in all of World Showcase, and there's a bench right by it, and it's kind of hidden by the shop. Oh, fantastic! Anyway, spent a lot of time there. A lot of good times. Good times.
Good times. Cold air.
Great.
So
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. Deb, thanks for coming on the show again.
Thank you. Had a great time.
And of course, Deb's website is allearsnet.com.
Hey, got it right.
For Lentesta, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, Deb Wills, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.